The reason we preserve land in Worcester is because those of us who live here would like it to be a pleasant place to be. The mission of the Greater Worcester Land Trust is to preserve land for human recreation and wildlife habitat, and to try to find a balance where both of those things can take place. My name is Colin Novick. I'm the Executive Director for the Greater Worcester Land Trust, and I have had the distinct pleasure of working for them for about 25 years now. They're a 35-year-old nonprofit that conserves land in and around the city of Worcester. At this point, we have about 1,500 acres that we own. We have about 900 acres, almost 1,000 acres, where we have the development rights and we watch over it. And then there's about 600 acres where we've acquired the land on behalf of either the city or a town or the state and flipped it to them because we were able to move faster than they could. And it turns out that there isn't enough capacity at the government level to put aside as much land as people are hoping to have in their community. So in many ways, a land trust is sort of a stopgap or a short circuit of the system to make sure that enough land for habitat and recreation is put aside, because right now there isn't enough resources or capacity in government hands to do it. The reason we preserve land in Worcester is because those of us who live here would like it to be a pleasant place to be. So that means we want clean water. And that works best when the rain gets to fall on the ground and through trees and through vegetation. We want to have clean air. Turns out that things like trees and vegetation clean that up too. We would like it not to be baking hot like the Sahara. Turns out that trees and vegetation do a pretty good job at that. It's sort of like conservation is a DPW service, and instead of having gray infrastructure of pipes and wires, we have a green infrastructure, which is habitat and wildlife. But the other part is we're selfish folk. So we like to see critters. And part of that is making sure there's enough habitat. And the last part is we like to run around. We like to go for a hike. People want trails. People want a place to get away from the pavement, sit down on a rock and not listen to traffic. But then in a very practical way, it's just making sure that it's a nice place to be. I would say that the majority of land that we have, we had to purchase. Now, some people do donate land, but being in a city that has a lot of demands on land, there aren't a lot of opportunities where something can be given for free, and that means that we have to acquire it, and that frequently means that we're partnering with the government, we're partnering with foundations, we're partnering with private individuals, we're going after grants and sort of creating a coalition to protect a piece of land. There are probably two main challenges that the Greater Worcester Land Trust is facing at this point. The first of which is that the large blocks of land to be preserved have either been preserved or lost to development. So what we are now trying to protect are the things that connect everything together. So along the stream corridors that link one place to another, the trail corridors that link one place to another. So we've shifted what we're doing as we go forward. The next challenge is not only is the landscape changing, but the climate is changing. So everything from what trees we have, what plants we have, what wildlife we have, all of that is shifting, and we have to shift the way that we manage the land and the way that we interact with the land and our expectations for the land as climate starts to become a stressor. The easiest way for the public to get involved is to go for a hike. So I would say start by hiking, start by learning about where you live, find the cool places around you, and then as you start to get excited about it and invested in it, jump in as a volunteer. If someone wanted to help work with the Land Trust as a volunteer, we have a wide variety of things. We have people who are going out with GPS units and walking trails and recording them. We have people who are taking slabs of wood and routing them with hand routers to make trail signs that we hang up deep in the forest. We have people who are out with brush mowers who are cutting back meadows so that the birds have places to be. We have campsites that people are checking in on. We have people who walk the bound lines to make sure that people aren't dumping on the land. We have people who are photographers who make calendars. We have people who do mailings. We have opportunities to share videos, and if you can dream of something, there's probably a way for you to bring whatever God-given talent you've been given to the Greater Worcester Land Trust and the conservation community. Someone can always try to make conservation land into something different. They could decide that it needs to be a prison or a water tower, or God knows what. The only thing that keeps it conservation land, above and beyond all these cool legal things, is that people care. So if someone says, I want to take that piece, Cascade East, and turn it into a landfill, there will be people who show up at the city council meeting with pitchforks and torches and say, no, you're not. No, you're not. So my goal looking forward to the future is that there are kids who are born and grow up in Worcester and believe that they live in a natural landscape and take for granted that there are streams and ponds and forests and wildlife in a way that wasn't true for my childhood. I would love it if they just assume that Worcester has always been this wild spot where there's a city and wildlife living together. That wasn't true before, but it's starting to become true now, and that would be a wonderful goal for the future.